And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. What we're going to talk about today is from femininity to masculinity. And we're going to first start with the story. 500 years ago, just a couple of months ago, exactly 500 years ago, Hernan Cortez came to Veracruz. He set sail to Veracruz, Mexico with his crew. I'm reading now. Upon arrival, Cortez's men became wary and scared, with hopes of turning back to their old life. As legend has it, Cortez had the men burn their ships, leaving no option but to press on. Their ability to retreat to their previous way of life was gone. Their safety net had been removed. The burning of those ships represented much more than a separation from old ways. The same fire that set the ships ablaze also allowed Cortez' men to complete their mission and be part of something greater than themselves. Burning our ships means there's no turning back to old habits and ways. In this world, we wrestle with all kinds of different physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual battles. To allow great change in our lives, we must find the root of those struggles, our own ships that can be so tempting to sail back on, and burn them. Now, I really liked this quote. This from, I can put the link below, but it's a very simple website that I just found. And I just thought it was interesting how they used the word root of these struggles. Because my belief is that the root of all of your problems is femininity. That is the root of all your problems. I'm talking to men now. Men of high value. The goal is complete masculinity. To become a man. And to take the necessary steps from where you are today to becoming a man. Taking you from point A to point B. I heard a quote from Tony Robbins. He said, make your mess your message. I grew up a feminine, scared, nervous, social, anxious little boy who loved to sing and who loved to express my feelings and who was always in love with girls and it was so romantic. I had a lot of issues. My family had a lot of issues. And those issues came from the fact that we were feminine. Nothing else. That was it. That was my wife calling. Unfortunately, I cannot take that. So, in terms of femininity and moving to masculinity, where do we start? We start with the number one addiction we get, which is porn and masturbation. This is where all addictions start. And addictions means that you are not in control of yourself and your actions. The definition of masculinity is to be able to have complete emotional control. The definition of femininity is to have a lack of emotional control. Femininity in women is absolutely fantastic. We don't want them to have complete emotional control. And even if we wanted them to, they're not able to because of their intense emotions. Their intense emotions basically takes away all emotional control. For good reason, so that we can receive automatic, truthful feedback of what is going on. Women have that ability to give us the feedback because of their lack of emotional control, which allows us then to solve the problem. If women control themselves, then we cannot solve the problem. Then we don't know what's going on. This is the exponential growth curve that happens in women before they ask for a divorce. They control themselves emotionally. I mean, they've had their ups and downs throughout their marriage, of course. But very often, men who receive the desire from their wife to get a divorce, she wants to get a divorce, that man very often is taken aback, was like, what? And didn't understand, didn't know what was going on. And the reason why was because she was controlling her emotions. At least in public, meaning in front of you, if you were the husband. And that was because you were being the feminine one in the relationships, while she was being the masculine one in the relationship. You being the feminine in terms of expressing your emotions and doing everything that you can for her and telling her that you loved her so much, and doing it in terms of overkill, never allowing her to express that emotion to you. Going back to femininity and masculinity in terms of burning the ships. Burning the ships, there's two words that come to mind: commit and decide. Let us go through those two. Decide comes from the Latin origin, committere. Come means to unite, to combine, to connect, to bring together. Okay, so this is the harnessing of energy that is going on, that's being propelled in order to create a blow, in order to create power. Mit, or mittere, in this sense, is to release, to let go, to send, to throw. This could be used in sexual terms, in terms of ejaculation, because it's a perfect description of that. To commit, to decide. Okay? Commit basically means that you come to the point of no return. But we have to apply it in terms of our masculinity and femininity. We have to come to the point where we make a decision. We commit to not live feminine lives any longer. It's not acceptable. We are going to become masculine no matter what. We unite all of our forces, every single part of our being, because of our understanding of the heartache and the problems that come with femininity in men. And we decide to take full emotional control over ourselves. Let's look at the word decide. D comes from off. Side, in terms of scissors, or from the Proto-Indo-European root, koed, means to cut. Okay? So to cut off or to strike. Which basically means that you cut off all other options and choose one way. You've got to put that femininity behind you and move on to a masculine future. It's the only way. Emotional control. If you think about the world today, how different it would be if David, in terms of David and Goliath, had missed. Okay? The Bible story would have been completely different. he didn't miss. And he wasn't crushed. He crushed Goliath. He united his powers, and then he sent forth and released the stones until Goliath collapsed and dead. That allowed David to become king, and the rest is history. Everything is different because of that. So now, what is going on in today's world? We've got masculine women and feminine men. That is robbing both genders from their potential. Women were designed to fulfill their potential through femininity. Men were designed to fulfill their potential through masculinity. The universe has designed the system in such a beautiful way that when men strive for masculinity in its excellence, they receive optimal health and massive amounts of joy and happiness. And it's the same thing with women. When they are allowed to remain in their femininity, because we all start out as feminine. When they're allowed to remain in their femininity because men unburden them and take away the unnecessary discipline that should not be put on women's shoulders, that is the only way they can remain in their femininity. In their femininity within their bubble. In their femininity within the fun things of life. Of joy, laughter, play. Of dancing, singing, exploring their talents. All of those things that women are supposed to do. Exploring their potential when it comes to them being sexual beings. Much more so than men should be. When men become massively sexual, i.e. feminine, we are taking away the opportunity for women to be sexual at the potential and the levels that they're supposed to be. And the only times that they're allowed to reveal their true sexual selves is if they drink alcohol or use other forms of aid. That's a problem. That basically shows that we have a lack of ability, a lack of power to create those emotional reactions in women that we want them to have. It's our fault and our responsibility. Women out there are telling each other that they should take responsibility for their own orgasms. That's not acceptable. It's your fault. And it starts with you. But you're right now in your femininity, not exploring the quest for power, the ability to do. Potence. Where does that word come from? Potential. Potential come from the word potency. And potency is power, the ability to do, the ability to create. We've got that ability. But when we are stuck in our femininity, we never tap into that potential. The potential of power. First, you have to decide and make a commitment that you will not remain in your femininity and that you will move towards masculinity. It all starts with motivation. Motivation is basically motive, which comes from, in some ways, a moving object. That's what a motive is. when you have a motive, an image in your mind that makes you move and take action towards it. That's what motivation is all about. Without sufficient amounts of motivation, you will never commit. You will never decide to make a change, to take massive action. The only reason why people in the world today, both men and women, have no levels of motivation other than that to take care of their own needs very often, that comes from them not seeing the end picture in mind. It comes from men not believing that they can actually achieve it, that they can actually create financial abundance, that they can actually create optimal health, that they can actually get to that end picture that they want for their lives. And very often they just succumb to who they are right now, and that's it. The only reason why you succumb to that is because you are feminine. If you saw the end picture and kept it simple, masculinity, it's going to solve all my problems. Fantastic. Then it's easy. You can move towards masculinity. But moving towards having a six-pack abs and being a perfect optimal health type of guy, becoming a multi-millionaire and getting a babe of a girl who's like an 8, 9, or a 10 that you couldn't believe that you could ever get. The only thing stopping you from getting everything in your life that you want is your femininity. You'd make that one decision today. Decide today that I will no longer be feminine. I will do everything in my power to choose masculinity in everything that I do. Emotional control. Channeling your emotions towards moving towards masculinity. Guess what's going to happen then? A series of miracles are going to happen in your life over time, and it's always going to be worse before it gets better. But see what's going to happen. You've got the motivation. You use these videos, this channel, for motivation to keep you on the path of masculinity. I'm going to be here daily, and you know it. Make sure you like this video. You got to like this video so that we can take this to the next level. You now have motivation. Then, eventually, when you've got enough information, you don't need more information to know that you should go towards masculinity. That should be a given. Okay? Gay people, they have a big problem. Because they believe that that's how they're born and then there's nothing to change. They can't. It doesn't work. And so they never get that end picture. But you, who are attracted to women, can have that end picture of masculinity. You make things happen. You move forward. You commit, you decide. Now, the only thing that stops you from moving to the next levels are discipline and understanding. Okay? Because you're going to take actions that are not going to work. But that is with the time when you need to tap into your discipline, which, by the way, comes from... Oh, man, this was so fantastic when I read it. I'm going to look it up while I have it here. Penitential chastisement. This is discipline, okay? Punishment for the sake of correction. From Old French, discipline. Discipline, physical punishment, teaching, suffering, martyrdom. Okay, do you understand what we're talking about here? We're talking about you going through the burning fire so that you can get to the other side as a shapen diamond. Where you have actually gone through hell in order to get to heaven. It's the only way, guys. But you have to go through it. Understand, it gets worse before it gets better. But because you actually took action, now you can learn from the people who have gone through that same fire so that you can know and understand, both from personal experience and from the masses amounts of other people's experience out there, but you never will know for yourself before you apply what they have experienced for yourself, getting personal experience and avoiding the unnecessary experiences by applying principles from their understanding and knowledge. Now you can move forward continuously until you get exponential growth curve in your masculinity. What's going to happen eventually is that you're going to grow in confidence. And confidence is the key. Once you solve a problem in your life, any problem, you will never have that problem again. For example, if you solve the problem of too little money, you solve that problem once and for all, then you know now how to get more money if you ever get into a situation again when there's a lack. Meaning, it will be a temporary problem if it ever becomes a problem again. Why? Because you know how to do it. If Warren Buffett suddenly lost all of his billions today, or Jeff Bezos, or Bill Gates, whoever, they would know how to get their billions back. That's the awesomeness of time. That's the awesomeness of evolution. That's the awesomeness of progress, of growth, that we can actually change and make things happen and create. And we grow in confidence continuously over time until we're able to talk to anyone and be comfortable in anyone's presence, including that of God, but also including that of the woman that you love. Complete confidence is the key, and it's the essence of masculinity. If you're not confident today, it's because you are feminine. If you are confident, it means you're doing some things right, meaning you're masculine. But there will be other parts in your life that you're going to be feminine in. So you have to strive to masculinity in every single aspect of your life. I'm going to end this with a chart over the testosterone levels in men and women throughout their lives. And if you guys want to hear more about this subject, man, I learned so much, and you guys are getting a tiny little part of the iceberg of the things that I learned today about masculinity and femininity. But let's go to the chart. So what is this? This is a chart of how many nanograms per deciliter that is found in males and females throughout their lives, or at least throughout until the age of 20 into adulthood. As you can see, men on the left-hand side, 0 to 5 months, there's a massive spike potential in boys between 0 to 5 months old. But in girls, however, it stays relatively stable. From 6 months and then to 10 to 11 years old, you see that boys are beginning to grow in their testosterone levels. These are normal ranges, by the way. So there's going to be difference and skews and different things for different people. But let's see what happens in their teenage years. The boys can go up to 800 nanograms per deciliter, 1,200, while girls remain at 75 as the max in normal levels. 17 to 18, you see 300 to 1,200. And then females 20 to 75 still. Do you understand? If you understand this principle, you will know testosterone is the motivation hormone for men. In some ways for women as well, but women will always be somewhat motivated because they have intense emotions and they care. But men need testosterone in order to care and be motivated to take action in their lives. There was one doctor that said that I get tons of people who come to me for low testosterone levels. But I've never had a patient that came to me for too high testosterone levels. There's something to that, guys. But I'm going to end. I keep ending. Pills. If you are using medication and you don't have massive, like almost death problems, you need to get rid of the pills. The reason why is because they are hindering the truth from coming forward. They're hindering feedback. Remember, we as men always have to face the truth. If you're popping pills to solve a bodily function problem of yours, you are hindering the automatic feedback cycle that the universe has allowed your body to have. Which means popping pills for more testosterone is a problem. You need to get it from natural means. And this is why I mentioned semen retention as the first thing you should do, but also exercise, staying away from sugars and processed foods as much as possible, and then increasing in confidence in every single aspect of your life. That will return your testosterone levels to normal levels. You don't even need to go to a doctor at all to figure this out. Just do the natural processes, burn your ships, never accept femininity in your life again, and move on to masculinity. This is the Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. I'll speak to you again tomorrow.